This episode of the Long Run Podcast is sponsored by Skechers.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Brilliant.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Long Run podcast, brought to you by FORDY Runs and sponsored by our kind friends at Skechers. Tonight, I'm joined by Chris, Hayden, and Alan, and we're going to be talking about running workouts to increase speed and stamina, and also how to tackle those 20-mile long runs that I think for people that are in spring marathons are kind of tackling this weekend and in the coming weeks. So, yeah, we're going to get into those in a second. I can just see Chris just wants to show off his hat. So if you are watching us live,
I've got a new hat.
He's got a new hat for those of you that are listening because it's an audio form.
And a new t-shirt.
He's modelling a white t-shirt from Tokyo and a hat which I'd call multicoloured, maybe rainbow.
It's beautiful.
How you describe it? Questionable is what I'd say. If you are on Facebook, please do click the.
No, I ain't put it in yet. Hang on.
Please click the link that Chris is about to put in any second, which will give us your name when you comment and also on YouTube. Otherwise, please do just add your name to the beginning or the end. All right, I think that's all the housekeeping stuff. Oh, actually, before I forget, we have been nominated for a Sports Podcast Award. I'm not quite sure how, but in the well-being, health and well-being category, which is amazing. So if you would be so kind, please do. There are links on the Instagram, the Long Run Show Instagram and the 40 Runs one, as well as on the 40 Runs community page on Facebook. So please do go on there, click on that and give us a vote if you can. That'd be amazing. Right. Oh, hello from Boston already.
I know that just took me, but I was like, what? We've got to give a shout out to all our Irish cousins. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Actually, we should have worn green, really, thinking about it. Mind you, it's a podcast. It's audio based. No one really cares today. Just happy St. Patrick's Day. At front end, I was concerned when Hayden turned his camera on tonight. I thought he'd actually broken into somebody else's house. But are you sitting on the floor?
Is that because I look little?
Yeah, he's like Hobbit size, Hayden. So if you've ever seen the Hobbit, basically that's like Hayden in his house because he's so small. You'll probably get the chance to hopefully meet him at some of these races. But if you look for the smallest, oldest guy, that's Hayden.
You're going to lose more than one friend today in a minute because you've already lost one.
No, but this is where I'm going. So, who's going to Hayden? Are you going to start the sing song? Because we've got, as you may have seen from the titles, they were slightly adjusted today because our Toby son is 40 years old today. So everybody wishes happy birthday to young Toby son, who's 40 today. Be fair. That's why he's not here. He's out on the old. He's out tonight.
Can I just say, you've openly told everyone that he's 10 years younger than you. So if he was turning 40, that means that you're going to be 50.
My plan's been mucked up.
Be careful.
Why did you tell everyone that?
Well,
yeah,
someone's got to defend him. Bless him.
Oh, we've got loads of people already in the chat. Look, loads of them.
All right. Is Wilk at the races? Yes, maybe actually.
Probably, yeah. It's a busy week for a minute on the racing post.
Cheltenham. All right. Anyway, let's get into actually talking about something relevant. How are we? Hayden, let's go to you first. Back from Tokyo. We haven't seen you for a few weeks.
Yeah, no, really good. Really good. Obviously, yeah, been in Tokyo, out to do the Tokyo Marathon. It was an experience. It was something different. Ultimately, I enjoyed it, but it certainly is a long way from home. That's the best way of putting it. It's a long way from home in every aspect at all. Out of all the world majors that I was going to take on, it was always going to be the toughest one. Yeah. Logistically, just the fact it's the other side of the world. And I talked about it before I went. The anxiety before I went was high. Literally the flight, the jet lag, the language barrier, the food, the actual marathon, everything was just like going around in my head for days and days on end. But as you get there and you sort of settle in, things get a bit easier. Marathon itself, yeah, went really well. Went according to plan. Was probably a little bit faster than I would have liked, but as I said before, it's the same thing. You get in these world majors and you get on the course and a lot of plans go to one side. You just get a bit carried away. So yeah, but the actual marathon itself, the race went really well. Did I enjoy it? Yeah, absolutely. I know Toby wasn't a big fan of it. Thought it was boring. I think he said,
Yeah.
which is a little harsh for a world major marathon. And it was in Tokyo. We started sightseeing most of Tokyo streets. But I
Yeah.
understand what he's saying. I'm not a lover of out and backs, and there's a lot of out and backs there where you see people all the time.
Yeah.
That wasn't too fantastic. But overall, I said, organisation wise, the actual marathon day, brilliant, really well organised. What you'd expect from Japan. But I know you would have seen it from Toby's video and his vlog. The expo was an absolute disaster. Really, really was. And that's another thing as well. You went to the expo the first day we arrived, and it was so bad with so many queues. We just expected the marathon to be an absolute shambles. So again, anxiety gets raised, and it just made the whole thing a little bit nervy. But ultimately, all done, back home, and that's another one ticked off. And that's the
Done
one.
us proud, bro. You done
Yeah.
us proud. You both did. Well, and all of you.
A hat or a t-shirt.
What?
You have somehow.
Yeah, I listen. I'm going to be collecting this year from all the world majors memorabilia, even though I'm not doing any of them. I think that's a great way to sort of, I don't know, motivate you and all these sort of older runners that we've got to sort of maybe sit down, taking on these big challenges. Like, well, I'm not doing them. Look at my t-shirt, Hayden. You're well, mate. Look, it's amazing.
I know, but as I said before, I know it's audio based, but Chris is showing his t-shirt, and he might have a flash t-shirt and a cap. I haven't, but I have got this.
That plastic medal you bought in the market.
So for those of you that are listening, Hayden is currently holding up his gold Tokyo medal. Has it got a map of the course on the back of it? Is that what that was?
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
Map
of the course saying finisher, one step ahead, and the date. It looks, I don't know, maybe from a distance it looks good, but if I'm honest with you, a little bit disappointed. It's a lot smaller than all the other ones, and definitely so. Little bit disappointed with the medal, but ultimately it is a Tokyo marathon.
It's in the bag, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're 1 star closer to the 6, aren't you? You're now.
Yeah, that's 4 down, 2 to go. Number 5 is in 4 weeks this weekend.
Wow.
Can I just say as well, you said something a second ago which made me laugh inside, which was I was a bit faster than I expected. I don't think anyone has ever said that about a marathon before. I went faster than I wanted to go.
Expected was probably the wrong word. It's probably faster than planned. Yeah. I did want it to be a kind of just a long run, like a Sunday type long run. But yeah, it was a little bit faster I would have liked. But I'm in good shape now, so it didn't do me any harm, which is ultimately the goal. So happy day.
Right. Well, lovely to have you back. And Alan, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. At 4:10, I was 2 winners into a 4-horse accumulator, having backed the winner of the Gold Cup, and then the favourite on the 4:10 let me down.
Did Wilco give you any tips?
No,
they did give me any.
I had to work that all out for myself, so I was a bit disappointed.
It's a liberty.
But I'm not really a betting man, to be honest, but I just thought, what the heck? A friend had copped $4,000 yesterday, backing 7 Irish winners, because she likes a flutter. So I thought, if it's good enough for Kathleen, I'll give it a go. But wasn't to be. So I won't be retiring just yet on my winnings.
Blame Wilco, 100%.
Yeah.
Actually, to be honest with you, we should all be sitting here in pots of gold. Like, just money coming away from us, because Wilco should have given us all the tips, all the inside knowledge. What's the point of having a mate who works for the Racing Post if he doesn't give you tips?
Yeah, but that's why he's got night boxes behind him and shoe boxes full of gold that he just hasn't told us about.
It drives me up the wall. Oh, what are you drinking, Hayden?
Orange squash.
I'm not having that. It's got to be tequila in there.
That's orange squash. Got a long run tomorrow.
C4. Got to give a shout out to Toby's new sponsor. There's now his hydration partner, the birthday boy. He absolutely loves C4. So yeah, if it's good enough for Speedgo, it's good enough for me. Right.
Anyway,
yes, go on.
How are you? What's going on this week?
I've got big news.
Oh.
No, this is serious.
Right.
This is actually serious. You know about it. Next week, admin is going to do a special bonus episode with Colin Jackson.
Yeah.
So we've been invited down by Red Bull to go and do that. So we're not interested in anything he's done. What we want to know is what tips has he got for everyday runners, being a former Olympian. So that's being recorded. That will come out as a bonus episode. Wow. But basically, she's going there to convert him to be a 40 runner because, he needs to be effectively.
So seeing him at a race soon in a 40 top.
Yeah, I think he just had major FOMO. He was at the National Running Show and he was on this like Red Bull stand or something, and he kept looking over and wanting to be part of the team, wanting to be part of the family. And apparently, I spoke to the press officer and she kept saying like, "Who's that really old guy on the stand?" I said, "Oh, that's Hayden." But he really wanted to be part of the team. So they got genuinely Red Bull thing, whatever they're doing. I can't remember what it is, but it's Admin's going along. We're going to do a little cheeky bonus episode, but I don't think he realises what we're going to be asking him. So that's going to be coming out soon on the channel and on the podcast. So that's big news. Other than the fact of that award thing or whatever it's called, that's probably a stitch up. It's probably already done, right? They won't publish the votes, which always makes me nervous. So I do think it's a big stitch up, but I might be wrong, and I'm happy to be proved wrong. So everybody get behind it. Let's vote. Let's take on the big boys. Let's show them how it's done. And even if we get 11,000 votes and we still don't win, at least we tried. That's all we can do in it. We can try. Thanks to everybody who's already voted, by the way.
Thank you. There was
appreciate
a lot of love on the Facebook group. But isn't it amazing that just over a year ago, or however long ago, this is just a bunch of mates that sit on a computer on Friday night talking about running, and now we are, and there's some big people in that category. So to be
like massive,
frighteningly
massive
stages at the O2, right? So there's some big old people in there. So yeah, we're excited, proud.
But they don't have a Tokyo hat.
I should have put my bobble hat on, but some of us
Come on, let's talk about some running.
Anyway, all right. Well, let's talk about running. Let's start with this weekend, right? 20-mile runs. People have got them. I think if you're on the Brighton Marathon plan, you're 3 weeks out. And then obviously you've got Manchester just after that, Boston, London. And there's been a lot of conversation this week and a lot of kind of comments around, oh my God, I'm hitting those long runs. How do I get through them? What do I do? I've got to go out on my own. I'm nervous. I'm anxious. How do I tackle this? So we thought we would just unpick it a little bit and actually maybe, because we've all done them, right? We've all been in a marathon plan and we've all had that feeling those few days before, or that night before. And so what are kind of your tips as to how you tackle that long run? Al, how about you first?
Well, the irony is when it comes to 20-22 milers, being a Hanson runner, I don't actually have that problem because we tend to top out at 16, but it's on the back of, an intense week as well. So you're already running on tired legs. But for those that are contemplating and have to do those 20 miles, I think for me, if I'm kind of writing plans for people, it's about breaking it down. And that sounds obvious, but it's breaking it down into things you're used to doing. So 2 things I always recommend is think about the compass run. So a 20 miler breaks down into 4 lots of 5. Head out from home or from a central base, maybe your car in a car park, run 2.5 miles, turn around, come back, refresh, hydrate, go out in a different direction, 2.5 miles. So on that plan, you're breaking everything down into little chunks. And if for whatever reason it doesn't work that day because you're just not feeling it, you're never more than 25, 30 minutes from safety. The other one is to break it down into different types of running. So you've got 20 miles, 30 odd K, that's 3 lots of 10K. Now everyone will have run hundreds of probably 10Ks in their training plan. So just think about picking a different style of running. So it might be that you're doing progression. So you start off really easy, hit a bit of goal pace, and then, see where that leaves you. So it's about having that mentality, not to go, it's 1 20 miler. It's a series of smaller runs. So for me, it's that mental barrier. I think that you're tackling. Your legs will be fine. Your legs will get you there. It's will the head, will the brain get in the way.
Absolutely. Hayden, how about you? Because you're doing 20 tomorrow, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got a 20 tomorrow. It's easy to say, I know, but ultimately for me, the most important thing is, the biggest advice I give to anyone is, don't fear it. Don't be scared of it. Don't worry about it. You've probably done 18 miles already. You're working your way up to 20 miles. 18 to 20 miles, when you're that sort of tired in your legs, it's not that different. So don't worry about it. Don't fear about it. I say Alan's come up with the best sort of suggestions. The compass point run's brilliant. For me, I like to, as I'm getting up to 20 miles, I know I've got some goal pace in mind tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is to break mine down. And I find a lot easier is I spoke about it before. I'm going to put a park run into mine. So I've worked out my route tomorrow. I'm going to I need to do about 20 kilometers till I reach park run. Then I'll do my 5K park run. Then I've only got like 7K left. That breaks it up because I'm working my way towards park run and I know it's a half marathon. Then you've got your park run, then afterwards just a 7K on the way back home. It just breaks it all up, as you said. You haven't got that monotonous thing in your head of thinking I've just got to keep going and keep going and keep going. It just makes it easier.
Yeah.
You doing that in the Zagamas?
I am absolutely categorically not doing it on the Zagamas. No.
No, that's a shame. I know everyone on Instagram would be upset that they've not going to get to see the Zagamas.
One person on Instagram that'd be upset they don't see the Zagamas, and that is you. And I don't even know. This guy has got an absolute obsession with my Nike Zagamas. They're trail shoes that I thought were really good, and he can't stand them.
I'll tell you why. No, let me tell you, because when we went to, what was it? What was that? Clapham. He's bowled up. Oh, I thought you got to check these out. Whoa, look at these Zagamas. Whoa, these are the best shoes. Absolute pony. And that's the only time I've ever seen him wear them, right? And he was telling me the whole way how good they are, right? But I want to see them again because apparently they were the best thing ever.
It's the wrong season. They're trail shoes. They'll be coming out. Don't worry. Once it starts getting really muddy and marshy about next November, they'll be out for a little 5K. But in the meantime, tomorrow I'm looking for comfort on my 20 miler, and that's another important thing. Yeah, I think as well, you've got to treat these 20 milers as though they're like race day. Preparation wise, even people don't think about carb loading. When you've got a 20 miler ahead of you, carb load the couple of days leading up to it, not as intense as you will on marathon day, but start practicing, because that's not an easy task to do if it's your first time attempting carb loading. Get that fuel inside you and make sure on the 20 miler you're taking enough fuel out with you as well. Treat it exactly like a race day, because again, it's only 10K off a marathon distance anyway. So, get to that point and you'll be all right.
Yeah. All right, Chris, have you got anything to add on those?
I weren't listening to any of it, to be honest with you, because I was too busy admiring my new Tokyo t-shirt. For everybody watching, here we go again. For everyone on the podcast, make sure you watch the live stream back. Now, I would go the other way. I think, and this is relevant to the person who hammered us about always talking about marathons. I think it's actually relevant for people who are doing half training as well, because you've got like London Landmarks half marathon coming up, and there's some big half marathons. I don't all what the guys have said applies to all the distances, half or full marathon, because you're going out potentially, if you're doing the first maybe half, you're going up to that sort of 10, 12, even 13 miles for your sort of last long run before you get to your big half marathon. And it is literally, I think my biggest tip is to slow down. And that's not necessarily slow down your pace, but slow down your brain, slow down everything, and don't get ahead of yourself. Don't start thinking, oh Christ, I've got another 5 miles, or oh, I'm running too fast, or I'm this, I'm that. Just slow down, take it down a notch, everything. And I mean literally everything. Yeah, run to this, run to that. There's all these little tips that we've said on the podcast before, but honestly, just calm the mind and slow everything down and enjoy it. Yeah, you've got to enjoy the experience of whatever you're going to do, but slow your pace down, slow everything else down, but just slow your mind down.
It's really important, actually, because I think you guys have touched on it between all of you, but you would have hit this at this point. This is like the peak of your training. So you've probably done 16 miles, 18 miles in the weeks before, right? The 20 mile is kind of, for most of us, is the one, and then we start to taper. So use it as the one where you test out your race kit if you haven't, like what you're wearing, think about that, how many gels you need to take. If you're thinking about all of those things, trust me, your legs will keep moving, right? So use it as preparation, but also know that once those 3.5 hours, 4 hours, however long it takes you is done, that's it. You're on the road to race day then. So don't be afraid of it. Don't fear it, as Hayden said.
I would say one caveat: you don't have to do 20 miles.
Yeah, true.
No.
Right? It's there's that 3 hours, 3.5 hours, whatever way you look at it in terms of time on feet, with the science and whatever, right? But so don't be sitting there going, I've got London Marathon, I've got Brighton, I've got Manchester, and I've not done 20 miles because of this, because don't worry about it. Really, honestly, don't worry about it. You'll still get around. So because it's a 16, 18, 20 week process, whatever you've been going through. So don't everybody get excited about the big 20 mile, because really it's just 80 miles of, a little bit like 10, 12, whatever minutes added on, either way, either side of it. So don't overthink it. Like I said, just calm down, calm the mind, slow down, Put country music on, and you'll be just fine. Who is it? Does anyone want to see my t-shirt again? We've got loads of questions. Al, come on, load us up.
We're going questions. Well, I got some shout outs. We had Boston, but he never said, whoever it was, didn't tell us whether it was Boston US or Boston Links. So we want to make sure we're kind of covering all the Bostons. We've had a shout out from Pompey, which I think is Portsmouth, but I also know Mark and Hedy are in Pompei, Italy. So clarification, are we South Coast or are we South Italy? And that kind of leads us into a question from Mike about Boston. See the link there? Is Toby running it this year?
No.
So just you, Hayden.
No, he's
sole
not.
representative.
I'm out there on my own. Yeah, represent him.
He's flying solo.
And well, hold on, lovely Jatila that we had on last week.
Yeah. How can we forget? How can we forget Tom? I mean, she's going to be out there as well.
Brilliant.
So yes, she's
hero
out there as well. Yeah. So yes, she'll be out there with Hayden.
I think she's actually out in New York at the moment. I think she's doing is it New York half?
Yeah, New York half this weekend. Give a shout out to all our New York half runners. Let's go out and smash it.
Yeah, all right. But yes, no, Toby is not doing Boston, and that's not a secret. There's nothing's being hidden there.
So next question, I'm going to go straight to Hayden. And I know this topic can be controversial if you're in a couple of the world majors groups, particularly Mr. Wang's group. But it's coming from Canman, and he wants to know, should you be wearing the merchandise if you haven't run the race?
You are asking them. You need to ask the man in the top left corner of this podcast if you should be wearing the stuff if you haven't done the race. He's gone very quiet.
Do we take that as a no?
I think I do what I like. What are they going to do about it? I'm going to get one from Chicago. I'm going to get one from Boston, Hayden. I'm going to get one from all the majors, basically just to upset everybody. No, I just like stuff, and it's gifts. People shower me with gifts because they're so appreciative of the work that I do to support them on a daily basis. Hayden,
I do see a hell of a lot of people in the Boston jackets, and I do question whether or not these people have run Boston Marathon.
Oh, they have, 100%. Yeah, they have, 100%.
But you can't buy them online. You can buy them online. So
well,
can you?
That's where the conversation's now finessed in the group. It all depends on whether it says finisher. I think that's the key thing.
Fair point.
Yeah, if it says finisher, then you've really got to have got over the line. But you're absolutely right. Go down TK Maxx in a few weeks' time, and you won't have to worry about actually running 26.2. It'll be on a super discount. But we'll see.
But you won't have the medal.
Next
that
question.
Plastic one you got at the market.
No, you don't get the medal. But is that really important? No. So Lindsay's got a question. Lindsay Paul, can you train for a marathon on a treadmill? It looks like she's doing most of her runs on a treadmill. The caveat, though, hats off to her. When she does get outside, it's as a buggy runner. So I think most of us wouldn't even attempt to do buggy running, let alone do some of your long runs possibly with a buggy run. So what's our views on treadmill running?
100%. There's some absolute machines out there. I've said it before. Sarah, who wins every run through event she ever does, is just trains on a treadmill. So 100%. Whatever works for you, mate. If it's working, it's working. Crack on.
Mo Farah runs on a treadmill all the time as well. All the time.
And he's a bit handy.
He is.
Yeah, most of his Instagram posts are from his treadmill, aren't they, actually? Yeah. So it must be something in it. And all I'd say is if you are buggy running, you're getting some benefits that the rest of us aren't getting when you are actually out on the road. You see them all the time at parkrun, and you kind of know, because I've done it once, how hard that is to try and focus on your form, keep the thing on the road, not tip the kids into oncoming traffic and stuff like that. So there will be other benefits you'll be getting from running with a buggy, definitely. So we're going to move on to Kathy Hardman. Been training for her marathon. She's got up to 13 miles on gels, but now seems to be struggling a little bit with perhaps should we call it tummy issues. So what advice would we give her about fueling for those longer runs?
I'd have a look. If she's getting, did she say she's getting stomach issues at 13 miles?
She's been training up to 13 miles and only using gels. So she's now starting to worry because she doesn't think, she'll be able to cope with that level of gel intake over the longer distances.
Firstly, don't worry. Just your worry, your anxiety will make it 18,000 times worse. You'll be just fine. have a look at what time you're taking them. Have a look at what period of like the gap between taking the gels. Have a look at the type of gels you're taking. They're very different. Have a look what you're having pre-run as well, and have a look at what you're having in the 2 or 3 days leading up to the run. But you should just be fine. There's this big misconception about gels. They're a convenience product, right? For runners or for cyclists, or all this sort of stuff, to get that carbohydrate and what we need into us in a package and an easy form to do. But just have a look at. Hang on a minute, Buzz. Shut up. It's the security dog. Don't come around my house. He's like a maniac. But yeah, he's I would just look at when you're taking and what you're taking, to be honest with you, but also what you're having pre, because like as we did with we changed her up and we removed all that the stitches and all that sort of aggravation that she was getting. But just have the confidence that it won't affect you, unless obviously I don't know. You maybe had an episode and it has, but have you played around with different gels? We're playing and watch the video on Sunday. There's a video out. We've been adding in caffeine gels now, so we're playing around with different stuff. There's 2 different brands that I'm going to be running with, and it's that sort of like Hayden alluded to at the start. It's that trial and error.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would question when you're taking it, what you're taking, and what you're having pre, and all that sort of stuff, really.
But there's also lots of people do take solids out on their runs with them. So flapjack bars, Kendall mint cake, dates, even jelly baby. So all of those things. I mean, there are loads and loads of alternatives if gels aren't for you, because for some people they're not right. So it is trial and error though, and now's the time to do it.
So we'll come on to another question about gels, but I just want to draw to attention Lindsay. She's saying 13 miles, 16 miles, and 20 miles as a buggy runner. So really, we should have had her on talking about how to cope with those 20-mile runs, because she's pushing some weight around as well. So hats off to you, Lindsay.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lindsay, drop us an email, hello@fordyruns.com, because we'd love to have you on talk about buggy running. So just do that and we'll sort that out, please.
Excellent. So back to the gel question. 2 sheds, Glenn. I think I've got that right. How many gels do you take on a half or a full marathon? So we've talked about this before, but
I don't think there's a standard.
Tell us what their fueling strategy is.
Yeah, there's the rules with regards to the science I suppose, with regards to 45 minutes, 60 minutes, and your glycogen stores and all this sort of stuff. But I have to be honest, I think 90% comes down to personal preference and how you are as a human being, how your metabolism is, how your blood sugar levels and all this sort of stuff, how tired you are, and everything comes into play in terms of fueling. Is he asking us what we do, or is he asking for advice?
I think he's asking what we do. He said, "How many do you have?" So I
watch the video. It's not a palm off, but watch the video on Sunday. It comes out 11 o'clock UK time. That's for the person who commented that I'm always plugging my videos, by the way. But watch that video, because it is this weekend. It's all about fueling and how we've changed it. So watch my video on what I do, but the other guys can answer what they do.
I'm going to jump to Jay's question, because they've picked up on the issue about Sabrina. So how did you remove the stitches? So give us a little bit more info about what you did to remove that problem.
We spoke about this, I think, the other week, but basically I was pre-run having Weetabix with milk and like orange squash, because that's just what I drink. And I went out on this run and I was like, oh my God, it's really hurting, this 16-mile run. And Chris was like, what did you have? And he shouted at me on a dual carriageway, and I was like, all right. But we think it was the lactose. So I've just changed it up, and I'm now having either a bagel or toast with peanut butter, a bit of honey, and then a banana, which seems to be working much better. So I've had exactly the same thing when I went out and did the Winter 10K, and then also the Cambridge half. And that seems to just removing the lactose, which I don't think was digesting. I wasn't able to digest it enough. And I think I was eating too close to going out running as well.
Can I just pick up on one? She said seemed to be working. She's put 2 PBs down since she's changed it, 10K and half marathon. I carry on what you're saying, but I'll just put that out there.
Yeah. So well, no, it has worked, right? So and I've changed to eating. I was eating probably 2 hours before, and I'm now eating probably 2.5 hours before, which seems to have done the trick as well. So just a bit more time, and taking the lactose out for me has worked. So I'd give that a go.
Sounds like strong advice there. So back to the marathon questions. Apple Tree has got a half marathon 3 weeks out from Manchester. Can they get away with racing it instead of doing a slower, longer run? So they might have their 18, 20 miles that week, but just fancy putting on the speed, I guess.
I had a conversation with one of my clients today about this. We was chatting about this. He's doing Manchester as well. He's got a half. I think he's actually 2 weeks out. And we was discussing this, and I want him to use that as a mental tune-up, not a physical tune-up. So I said to him, wear everything that you're wearing on the day. So, half tight, like me, half tights, vest, that sort of stuff, hardcore, sore running socks because I'm elite, and your shoes. But it sounds funny, but like, if you're going to wear headphones, but you wouldn't normally wear headphones, put them on. If you've got a snoozy, whatever you're going to wear on the start of that marathon day, right? Then, or race day, put them on. Okay, so you might think you look stupid. It doesn't matter. You're never going to see these people again. But I want you to pick a time. So I said to him, run 1:45. Now he's going for a 3:45 marathon. And I said to him, run a 1:45 marathon. So if he was going goal pace, he'd come in at 1:52. But I said, no, I want you to work a little bit harder because you'll probably check out otherwise mentally. But I want you to cross the line at 1:45. So that way you're on the start line. You think, right, this is a race. I've got to put a time down. I've got to manage my fueling correctly. And I've got to look at my effort and pace or whatever, you're running over that period of time. And you're working on that mental racecraft for the day. Because when you step on the line for him in Manchester, he's looking to run a time. And it's that sort of mental pre-big race sort of checkup to make sure you're there and know that you've got a race coming. It's different if you're just going to go out and you're just running because you just want to get the distance done and you want to collect the medal. That's fine. But if you're going to run a time at an event, like let's say a marathon in a couple of weeks after, then use that race for a goal, but do literally a pre-race tune-up. But give yourself a little bit more, but not too much, because you've got the other flip side of it. You don't want to risk injury. So there's two sides to the coin. But I've told him to run 1:45 dead aim. I said, even if you're walking the last 10 meters, I want you to cross that line at 1:45. That's your sole aim. I want you to practice what you're wearing, your race strategy, fuel exactly the same time as you will in Manchester. Do exactly everything the same other than the pace. But I need you to get there because then you're going to be focused on running to a time. That's how I would use it, and that's how I've advised him to use it. You've got to be careful because you don't want to go completely mental a couple of weeks out because there is the risk of injury. You could do something that you may further regret down the line, and you will, damage yourself to a degree. And it does obviously take time to recover from that. And you're probably already a little bit damaged because you've been through a marathon training block and you're coming towards the end of it. So just be careful.
Can I just say, Chris, so for that runner that you're talking about, 1:45 isn't PB chasing for him, though. Is 1:45
no.
Still comfortable within what he can do?
He's comfortably uncomfortable.
Right.
So he will finish and think, yeah, I had a bit of a workout.
Yeah.
But I wasn't dead at the end. I'm not spent.
Yeah.
And that's why I want him to work hard like he will in the marathon. But at the same time, I don't want him like knackered. So, because he's still got a couple of weeks left and I need him to recover.
Yeah.
But I do want him as a mental tune-up to use that race to get ready, to get set, because, the big day's coming.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a couple more questions before we move on to the main topic of discussion. But that's not unusual, is it, on a podcast here? Chris Treadwell wants to know, is it quite normal during marathon training to have a week where you're just struggling on every run? And if that's the case, what would you advise? Is it just rest? What else can you do?
Eat more. No, this week, honestly, every run's a struggle and I'm eating. Like, I had 4 yum-yums the other day. Like, it's just not normal. It's just the week you go through it. And you feel tight. But to answer the question, Chris, yeah, it's totally normal, 100%. And if you go in the Facebook group, if you're not on that, make sure you join the 40 Runs Running community on Facebook. Another plug there for that person. But join that Facebook group. Everyone's saying the same thing. Is it normal? Is this normal? Yeah, it's all normal. Don't worry about it. Just crack on. Worry about the next run. I'm looking for this question. I'm going back here, Al. Sorry, I've gone a bit rogue. And I think this is especially aimed at Hayden. Hayden, what is your favourite Zach Brown band song to run to?
God.
You've
I
been in
know.
Nashville. You should know.
I know. I've been to Nashville, but I didn't listen to much Zach Brown. I have no idea whatsoever.
Oh, that's a bit. Al, what's your favourite Zach Brown band song to run to?
Yeah, I'm kind of struggling a little bit on that one, I must admit.
Admin, because Colin Jackson will ask this next
I've
week.
never even heard of Zach Brown band.
Not very good, is it?
And it doesn't mean send me a link to it, just to be very clear.
That's annoying. To answer the question to everybody, firstly, get on after you've listened to this on Spotify or Apple, because we're on all podcast providers. Then search Zach Brown Band. They're the greatest band ever, and I would recommend listening to The Comeback. There we go. Beautiful. How we get it? Now, honestly, it's the best time. If you're sitting in a honky tonk bar, let's say you're in New Mexico and you rock up to a little itty bitty town, and then you want to drive to the local honky tonk. Guaranteed, there's going to be a Zach Brown song on, and it's a cracker. Anyway, should we move on?
Likely anyone is going to be in New Mexico driving to a honky tonk, ready to listen to that song.
There's a lot of people doing that.
Bit of Garth Brooks would do me. I don't mind a bit of Garth.
Oh, I was going to break out in the song then, but I thought better not.
I like
Hayden. We could do karaoke, right? So I'll tell you what then. Let's just spin round quickly. So Hayden and I karaoke song is "I Got Friends in Low Places." Right, I've been singing it all weekend, all week. Sorry. Al, what's your go-to karaoke song? They asked me this on the Kafuzi podcast, by the way. Big shout out to Kafuzi. What's your go-to karaoke song?
It would probably be something from Tom Jones. That's pretty predictable. I also like a little bit of Righteous Brothers. You've Lost That Loving Feeling. Because of the range, I can go up high and down low. So it shows my full repertoire.
I like it. Admin?
I've never done karaoke.
What?
No.
Yeah, never.
Outrageous.
Never.
Right, well, that's the long run show Christmas party sorted out then. We're all off to Tokyo. Tobe's got friends over there. And we'll go and do some karaoke. We'll get the whole team there. I could see. What do you reckon Wilco's is?
Ooh.
Meatloaf.
Bit
of meatloaf.
Yeah, I could see Wilco going meatloaf.
Yeah.
What about Speedgoat? I reckon Speedgoat's a secret Shania Twain person. That's what I think.
Random.
Either that or Lady Gaga. That's what I reckon. Speedgoat. Anyway, we totally. This is. Oh, ask Colin Jackson, by the way, on next week. What's his favourite? He's never going to know what's hitting when you're starting to ask him about what his favourite karaoke song is.
Anyone's got any genuine questions I want to ask Colin Jackson? Ping us.
No, but put that down. Say Fordy wants to know. No, say Hayden wants to know. Would you sing Garth Brooks with him at the karaoke? Come on, we better get on to talk about proper running because we've done 37 minutes.
We've still got some questions. We can come back to those at the end.
All right, we'll come back. So let's talk about running workouts that help us increase speed, stamina, endurance, all of that kind of stuff. Because to the point where we're at that point in training blocks, whether it be for 10Ks, half marathons, ultras, whatever, where it's getting hard and it gets boring and it gets a bit mundane, right? And so what's your kind of go-to, or what's a session that you really enjoy that isn't just go out and run X amount of miles or X time for, do you know what I mean? Like at this pace. So go on, Hayden, what's yours? Because you do a load of fun stuff with your guys in Surrey that they rave about, and all I get is Hayden's lot get chocolate. Hayden's lot get to do this, and I'm like, well, go to Hayden then.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily put a chocolate one in the middle of my marathon training block, but it's the same. But the theory behind it's the same. It's just trying to, as you said before, just trying to mix it up and make it a bit different. For me, one of the most beneficial runs for me, especially when it comes to pace and a bit more enjoyment, taking my mind off the run, probably a progression run, a good old progression run, which I really like. Yeah. I usually try to keep them roughly about 10K. So I normally set my sort of 10th K marker at probably one of my fastest sort of 1 kilometer park run. So I don't know, if you're going to run, if you're a 25-minute park runner, so you're running 5 minutes a kilometer, I'd like to normally set my 10th K one at 5 minutes, and I work 10 seconds back all the way back to the start. So it ended up being my first kilometer of this run, about 6.5 minutes. And I go up in 10-second blocks, get faster and faster and faster. It's double-sided for me. It works really well. First of all, I'm always looking at my watch and I'm thinking in my head, what's next? I've got to go faster. I've got to go slower. And that makes the run go so quick. Takes your mind off the fact that you might be absolutely blowing or your legs are hurting. Just goes away. And again, a progression run is an absolute fantastic run to teach your body how to work harder on tired legs.
Yeah.
As you start getting more and more tired, you've got to start pushing that boundaries a little bit further. And even if you think before you start the run, I can't do that, I'm not going to be able to run kilometre 10 at that pace, you'll be so surprised. As you warm up, your body gets warmer, gets a little bit faster, and you keep going. And it's like a goal in your mind. It's like race. You think, I'm going to get there. I'm going to do this. It's an absolute, for me, absolute fantastic one. One of my favourite runs. And I say, absolutely, when it comes to speed, it helps massively for me.
Yeah. Nice. They are good. And it's always satisfying when you get a nice little graph at the end, isn't it?
That was going to be the caveat. When you go on Strava afterwards and you've got that graph that progresses all the way, you can get like a block one that goes up and another one. It's a real good feeling. And it's an accomplishment. A lot of runs you go out on, even if you do a 20 miles, fantastic run, you come back and that feeling is really great. Whereas if you go out and do a usual 10K or 12K, you come back and you've just done a run. With a progression run, you've almost got something to show for it. And yeah, it's a really good feeling. I'd say for me, definitely a progression run, I'd go.
Yeah, nice. Al, what about you?
Well, I've got two. One of them's been long-standing and ties in with the kind of the speed work that you do on a marathon, and another one's something I've just started to play around with at parkrun. The first one is 800-meter repeats, sometimes known as the Yasu workout, and you start low, you start easy, and you build up the number of 800 repeats. And last week, I think I got up to 8. What's interesting about it is it's pushing you for just enough time, at just enough pace to really start pushing that kind of upper threshold. And I've noticed it started to move my threshold pace forward quite a lot. The other interesting thing about it, and lots of people, this kind of splits the running community. The theory goes that whatever you run your Yaso 800 meters at is equivalent to your marathon time. So let me explain that. If you're running your 800 meters and you're doing 6 or 8 repeats and you average at 4 minutes, then that puts you in a ballpark of 4 hours for your marathon. Now, not everyone signs up to that theory, but that is something that sits there in the community, that do your Yasos, and it'll give you an indication of where you're really at in terms of your marathon pace. The other one at parkruns is just playing around a bit like Hayden, setting my watch to beat every kilometre and then just mixing up the pace, either progressing it up or mixing it up, starting easy, chucking in a speedy 1K, taking it back down, and just deliberately running at different paces across the 5K. So you're just testing yourself physically as well as mentally.
Yeah. Oh, on that 800 repeats. So what do you do? How are you doing yours? Are you warming up and then doing 800 meters recovery, or are you doing?
Yeah. So typically it will be 10-minute warm up, very easy, just to kind of get your legs turning over, and then, as I said, I've been building up from 4 to 6 to 8 repeats at 800 meters, and then having a 90-second or a 200 meter recovery. And that recovery, not standing still, but either a very slow jog or a walk. So typically I will walk for the first 30 seconds and slowly build up so that by the time my recoveries come in, those last 10 or 15 seconds of recovery, I'm getting my legs turning over, ready to hit that 800 meter pace. And it's hard because after 8 of them, you're blowing a little bit. But it's one way of demonstrating progress. As I said, this last couple of months, I can see now I've got up to 8, and if I can hit 10, I've kind of got somewhere where I've never got before. So it's working to that extent that I'm holding it for longer. And the idea then is that you translate that into your kind of your goal pace and your threshold pace when you're doing your longer runs. Yeah.
So you do the 800 meters at the same speed every 8.
Try and keep it as consistent as possible. Yeah. And that's that's a challenge because you're going to get tired, you're going to get fatigued.
Yeah.
After 8 lots of 800 meters and a few 400 meter recoveries, you've done a fair miles as well. So that 7th and 8th repeat is starting to hurt because you're on tired legs anyway.
Yeah, good one though. All right, Chris, go on. Let's hear.
What's
your? Can I just?
I was replying to some emails. Go on. I'm multitasking. I've got so many things in my head that I'm actually multitasking while we're sitting here.
Are you worried about where Toby is?
I am worried about Toby, but listen to this, right? I'll come back to the session things in a minute because I saw something earlier. Here we go. Peter Hulley. Hello from Greater Anglia train to Liverpool Street Station. He's obviously going to Toby's birthday party that we've not been invited to. Did you hear about this, guys? Did you get invited to Toby's birthday party?
No.
Can you let us know in the comments if you got invited to Toby's birthday party? Because we didn't. He's in London. If you wanna know where Speedgoat is, he's in London, but he's out. So if you about 11 o'clock, he's going to be in a right old mess somewhere. Look for
You know
him.
what? I would like, if you see Speedgoat in London tonight and you get a selfie, you need to post it on the Facebook group. We want to see where is Speedgoat.
Can I just say the best way if you want to know where he is, the best thing to do is, and to be fair, he's a nice guy, so I know he'd love this. Best thing to do is everyone, if you go onto Strava and follow Toby, he sometimes records his walks, so you'll be able to see where he is. So go onto Strava now if you get a chance.
Yeah.
Toby Frost, go and find him and follow him on Strava. That'll make
I tell you what he really likes, Hayden. I don't know whether you started doing it, but he likes people when they comment on his runs as well.
Yeah.
And
so,
DM,
loves a DM.
Yeah, he loves a DM and Instagram as well. But I didn't say that. Speedgoat, you said that was Hayden who said that. Just for the record, it's recorded live. Hayden, you recommended that, not me, didn't you?
I just think it's nice people care about him. They want to know where he is. So the Strava, following on Strava, I think it's a nice idea. It shows we care.
Yeah, we're gonna get in so much trouble. I didn't say nothing. Right, going back to the thing, going back on topic because we're running out of time.
Running workouts.
So the 800-meter thing, I know about that. What Al was saying about that's very good if you can do it. It does punch out a number, but it's not that accurate. It's like these watches things. I won't pay any attention to it, but there's a lot of people who swear by it. Has he made his Instagram private? I hope he hasn't.
He has. That's what they're saying. He's made it private.
Has he made it private now? Oh, Hayden, look what you've done. He's gonna block you on Strava like he did me. So going back to the thing, but the 800 thing works for Al. That does work for some people. I tried it and it didn't work for me. But I know, like Al said, a lot of people who swear by it. The two sessions, I'll give you two sessions that I like, and then I'm going to tell you something that I did. The two sessions I like is actually kind of funny enough what the guy said. I like the good progressive run. I love the one we do, even though it's really boring, on a Tuesday. You know the one we did the other night where we run up to the pub and we say, because we're limited on time, but it's like 20 minutes out. Just run 20 minutes out, easy, chatty. Have a chat with somebody. Just go out for 20 minutes. It's good because there's a cheeky little hill in there, right? But after 20 minutes, you got to turn and burn. So you got to get back in 15 minutes or, equivalent, right? And you find that every single person who does that goes hell for leather on the way back. Everybody puts a shift in. And I shouldn't have done it because actually my calves on the next day were killing me because I ran out and I'd done a 3 mile. Was it 3 or 4 miles? No, I think it was 3 miles. I did a cheeky little 3 miles in the day, and I went out and done that in about 22 minutes, which is not hanging about. It's a reasonable pace for me. And then we did that run, and I was with Speako, and we got to the point where it was running like 6-minute miles to try and catch people up. And it's just brilliant. It's just great fun because you just get faster and faster and faster and faster. But I wasn't looking at my watch. I just knew where the end was because we finish at Tesco's. It's a bit random, but I was just getting faster and faster and faster. And it felt great when I finished, although I felt it the next day. The other one I like to do is the old out and back. So run easy out, whether it's 3 miles, 4 miles, 1 mile, whatever you want to do. And I will stop my watch and then I will restart it. So I'll save it and I'll go, right, I was 15 minutes for argument's sake. How fast can I actually get back? Because I always run quicker on the way back anyway, because my anxiety's dropped and I'm feeling better and I'm ready to go. I'm not thinking about what I've got to do. I just got to run fast. And I love that as well. It kind of is the same as progressive to a degree, but I love the challenge of trying to beat the time out. So I'll try and pick, if I've run easy out, I'll try and, pick a time that's like maybe a tempo pace back. But if I've run a tempo pace back, I'll then probably try and go like 5K pace back or just run as damn fast as I can. So again, it's like a mini goal within it. They're two sessions I really like. And I find that if I'm doing them with like another easy session in the day, that really does help me in terms of tuning in that speed. But the reason, the other thing is that we tried something new. I won't want to talk about it too much because the video coming out for that person on the comments, on the reviews. But it is coming out in a couple of weeks because we tried something new in our marathon training, which we were doing laps and loops. But we was concentrating on pace, and I actually enjoyed it. Believe it or not, yeah, it was really. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it, but I did, and I don't know whether that was because I didn't have like hydration vests and all that sort of stuff, but it was the session that we was going up and down in paces, and we was focused on pace instead of distance. And the number we wasn't focused on we've got to do 16 miles. It was like we're doing laps here, but this lap is at this pace, or this is a lap pace. And it was quite a nice way of doing it slightly different. So I quite enjoyed that session, and I'm going to do it again. So that was a new session for me. But the other two, so that one's so in terms of stamina, that's a good one. I know the speed helps the stamina, but the other two are good overall for speed. Actually, they can really, if you put those one of those in a week, they can really help because it's not as like boring as like trying to do an interval session. But you can really, really turn it on.
But I think as well, you don't have to do these things all the time. Once a week is enough, right? To the point where it's only like 20% of your running's meant to be like that. So the guys we've just given like 5 sessions, I think, 4 or 5 different things that you can try. Once a week, that's it. And then actually you feel really good after you've done it because you've pushed yourself that one session. You can go out and run your other runs easy pretty much, or at your goal pace or whatever you're doing. So it doesn't need to feel like hard work. And half an hour of, we all know, right? Half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever it is, an hour, whatever you're doing. Once you nail that, you're like, God, I feel so good. And there is the sense of achievement of going, I hit the paces, I hit the distance, whatever it is. Mentally, I think those things are more important sometimes than ticking off 10, 12, however many kilometers and miles, just kind of going through them.
Yeah, if you get a good session under your belt, right, that you've put a shift in, and that can be literally, I've managed to run for the first time solid for 20 minutes. Yeah. You'll get more out of that than trying to slog out 30 minutes of I'm trying to do a less run here and I'm doing a bit of walking here. You'd be better off condensing it and getting a high quality session. And I go back actually to what I was saying, like, with that person who's doing that half marathon, get a really good quality race under your belt, give that confidence from that, and then take that into race days. That's what where we're going. But yeah, there is some real benefits of trying to find a really good high quality session that you can repeat, because that's the other thing as well. The first time you'll try it, you'll go, I don't know what I'm doing here. I ain't got a clue. And then you'll get the confidence out, and then you'll start going, right, actually, I'm going to step on this a bit more because I know that actually when I finished, it's like Petra on Tuesday. She knows as soon as she finished, she knew I was going to ask her, Petra, did you actually try hard there? She went, no, sorry, I didn't. And you know what? I love the honesty. It's brilliant. But it is, when you do those sessions a few times, and she knows because she's done that sessions because we love that one. You know when you've gone at it.
But then it's the flip side. Like Mark, who's been coming on a Tuesday, he I think he used to run a little while ago, a few years ago, and he came back to running. And he said when he came back after Christmas, he said, "Oh, my aim is to get back to my 30-minute 5K." We went, "All right, fine, you can do that." And he wasn't far off. The other night on the way back, he was running like an 8:30 and 8:45 mile, and I was like, "Whoa, this you're well beyond that 30-minute now."
Mm-hmm.
And he's extended his long runs up to like nearly 10 miles, which is incredible. But then the next day after that session, he went on a treadmill and he ran like 27-minute 5K. I was like, there you go. And he went, all I could think about was you shouting at me going, there's another level in there. You can do it. And it's true.
There is true. It is true. But it's for everyone, isn't it? There is that block that you put in, and we all suffer from it.
But I can't believe the amount of podcasts we've done. And honestly, I've said it so much. It comes back to it. We keep coming back to this thing where it's always quality over quantity. It's just so inbred in running. Get that quality session, as you said, it's far more beneficial than just going out and just slogging out miles and just whatever you can do. It's just so important.
But it helps with everything, because I genuinely believe I've done 2 marathons, and the difference, and even in the halves when I've been trying to put down a time and to get that sub 2 or whatever, the difference is when I've done the speed sessions and I've done them properly, it's made all the difference. So when I was doing them once a week when I was training for Edinburgh, I took a massive chunk off of my marathon time. When I've been trying to get that half time down, And the guys were like, right, go out and run X amount of miles at this pace, or do this or do that. It does work.
Yeah, but also, you know, we had you running with us at a slightly more, let's call it, uncomfortable pace.
Yeah.
That helped you build the stamina. So what we did, we got her out with us, you know, running those 13, 16, I think we even did an 18, but it was at a pace that was quite uncomfortable. By the time you got towards the end,
Oh
you
yeah.
was, you was done. But it was sort of, you know, working that a little bit harder than you probably would when you went on your own. And I appreciate that's you having to run something, but I make you laugh. But that's why I love running with Spigo, because he is that bit quicker. He does tend to push on a bit. You try and hang on with him, and it takes you out of that little comfort zone. That, you know, that easy pace goes down from like 10 minutes down to more towards that 9 minutes, because over time, you know, running at his sort of easier pace, I get the benefit of it, because
Yeah.
I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone. I'm not massively, but it's that mental battle. And then when he's kicking on at the end, I'm trying to hang on or go with him. Yeah, I'll probably be dead at the end of it, but that's how I'm building that stamina, and that's how you, I mean, have got the speed that you've got and improved as your times, because again, you've been out with us, so you're welcome. But you've been out with us, and that's how you. But no, being serious, that's how you do it. So it is a good thing if you can, you know, get out your comfort zone and run a little bit quicker, but don't knack yourself out. But that's another way to do it.
I genuinely think running with people that you know are quicker than you does help. So if I go out with these lot, or if I go out with Petra,
Yeah,
I
PB's
know.
a great example.
I mean, she's scary though, because she's worse at pace than I am. And so you go out, but the confidence it gives you at the end when you've gone, I've been able to keep up with them for whatever it is, 3 miles, 6 miles, doesn't make a difference how far it is. But the confidence of going, hold on, I've got it there. So when you get to race day and you go, well, hold on, actually, I did it for however many miles when I was with them, which then means that I've only got to find a few more on my own. And once you settle into that pace, you're there.
I'm going to go and train with Hayden, because somebody asked me on Kafuzi's podcast about my marathon time. And I said, actually, I should probably stop mucking about, really, and all this sort of business. Although I don't run for times, seeing Kafuzi's time come down, because like he was, you know, just under 5 hours, whatever it was, and then obviously now he's just gone under 3 hours. If you've got no idea what we're talking about, just Google on YouTube or whatever you do, Kafuzi, you'll see an amazing YouTube channel. But we was chatting on that. But Hayden, obviously good for age, 3, whatever it was, you know, Edinburgh, he's obviously running a lot faster. So Speedgoat's now too slow for me. So I think actually I need to get what?
His birthday.
He won't listen back to this.
Right.
Especially after you hung him out to dry about everyone following him on Instagram and commenting on his drama. But I genuinely need to run with Hayden now. So this is it, Hayden. You're going to have to maybe you should sell some of the land in Florida, that 1,000 acres you've got out in Florida, whatever it is, that resort. Sell some of that. Buy a nice little chateau over here in Broxbourne. Come here at the weekend. Saturdays would be helpful, and we could go out and run together. And then I could get faster, and then I could qualify for Boston, and I could actually get a legit T-shirt to go with my Moody Tokyo one.
But then I'd have to listen to you like these lot do for however long. Then 2-3 hour runs with you next to me. There's something about them that's not appealing.
You've got to feel sorry for the boy, really. He puts up with a lot, doesn't he?
He does.
But Hayden, I think that's a good idea. You take him, and we don't have to.
Palming me off.
No, I don't want. I know it's horrible, but honestly, I don't want him. I don't want him.
Well, that's not very nice, is it? I'm not. Right, 1 minute warning, everybody. Get your questions in.
Oh, now what have we got?
Well, first up, Ryan and Taryn have been waiting really patiently for their shoe questions, and if it helps, tune in on a Monday night at 7 p.m. for Bite Size, and I think that's where Chris will pick up most of the shoe questions. That's a nice little slot to have an in-depth debate about footwear. And I'm probably just going to go with one last question from Neil. And we touch on this most times when we talk about marathons, but I think it's a good one to finish on. Doing London this year, it's his first ever marathon. One bit of advice, what would it be?
Enjoy it.
Who's going to go? Chris says enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
You've
got to. See, what's the point of doing it? You've got to enjoy it. Have fun. I was talking to someone today, did London once, regrets not enjoying it, like not stopping, seeing the sights, taking it all in when they did it. You've got to love it. You've got to enjoy it. And forget times. Just soak it all in and have the best day ever. That's what I would say on that one.
I would go with prepare. Be prepared. Make sure don't just turn up on the morning and just think, oh, where am I going to? Where's my start line? Where's this? Be prepared for everything. See what time your tubes are, your trains. Map up your route where you're getting there. It just takes a lot of the stress and anxiety off, and then you can go on to what you just advised, and that's relax. Because it's easy to say to everyone, just enjoy it. But if you're getting there and you've got all these anxieties, your levels are up high, you don't know where you're going, you don't know what this is, you don't know what time you're not going to enjoy it. So be prepared. As you said, don't think about times. Be prepared. Know where you're going. Get it sorted. Get there on time, and then enjoy the race.
Isn't that a song from The Lion King?
Be prepared.
I'm sure it is.
Don't know, but mine would be don't do anything new. So you will have done all of that training. You will have done all of those long runs. You will know when you need to take gels, when you want to take water. My biggest mistake was overfueling. I think was one of them. I just was like, oh my God, I need to take water at every station. You don't. You can overfuel very easily. So trust your training, trust the hard work you've put in, and to the guys you prepared, enjoy it.
Be confident.
And for me, it's get your name on your shirt. It sounds silly, and even if you're not doing a charity vest, get your name on your shirt, because people will literally cheer you across the line and cheer you through 26.2. And you can do all the preparation, but sometimes you just need that little bit of external help, and people will find you if you've got your name on this shirt. So go and find those iron-on letters. And we can do a whole podcast on how to iron your letters on your shirt without ruining your FORDY top. Because it's been known, hasn't it?
Just before we go, can I just pick up on one comment? Because I think it's Maxie Bowden's clearly been drinking too much on a Friday night, and she's asking for FORDY to be Prime Minister. What is this world coming to? Honestly.
I'd be amazing.
Oh, God.
I would be amazing if you think about it. But that's a convo for another. We could even do a bonus episode about it. Email in. What is it? What's the website thing?
Oh, 40runs.com/long run.
Yeah, if you want to see a podcast special about me being Prime Minister, let us know. Right, that's it. Let's wrap it up. Let's let these people go home.
All right. Well, look, thank you guys for all your questions, your comments tonight. Thank you to Skechers again for sponsoring us. And obviously, Chris is back on Monday nights. So anyone that's got training questions, because I've just seen some more coming through as well, please tune in then, 7 o'clock on YouTube. Don't forget the podcast. And also, if you get a chance, please do leave us a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all of that kind of stuff, because that definitely helps. So thank you. Good night. And we'll see you next week.
Get ready for these titles. It's beautiful. Just in case you missed them in the open. Here we go. This episode of the Long Run Podcast is sponsored by Skechers.
Happy birthday to